Welcome to the Massimo Show. Loral, welcome to the Massimo Show.
Hey, how are you? Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, we greatly appreciate your time. I'm sure it's hectic what's going on right now in the world. Your background is so incredible when I reviewed it. You were an entrepreneur, it seems, but by nature. So I read that you were an entrepreneur really in your early to mid-teens. Is that accurate?
Yes. So, I grew up on a farm in Nebraska. So at some level, you call those kind of lemonade stands, walking beans, mowing, all those kinds of things. Of course, businesses. But going off to college, had scholarships, but wasn't enough to pay to go. So I would say there's a group of people in school that have to go get jobs, and there's a group of people in school that have it paid for. So I didn't want to get a job, so I started personal training and aerobics instruction business. And by early 20s was well into six figures. I was making good money.
So did you create these businesses
from scratch? And I think, it's probably the way that I've done that. And I've also done, most of my companies, I've owned lots of companies. I've known, before Shark Tank gave us a name to be a shark, I said I was just an investor, business owner. But I've, turned from pizzerias to hair salons to naturopath businesses. Business is business. And so when you really understand it and you understand the components and how it works, I start a lot from complete scratch, especially publishing, author, and speaker businesses. I think they're easily started from scratch. You pre-sell, you get deposits, you make a bunch of money, and away you go, you fund yourself. Unlike real estate, you might need some money or you have to know how to negotiate. Yeah, I've got big bandwidth, as you said, Rod, to the kinds of businesses and how I've done them.
What you have is subconscious confidence in what you've done. It's so incredible. But take me back to the Chevron opportunity when you were just in your early 20s, I believe.
Absolutely. So yeah, about 24. So I had gone through the university, got a finance degree, master's in exercise physiology. So I put these two degrees together, started thinking, well, what could I do with them? And corporate wellness was amongst us. So I just put out a random ad. And 24, I thought there's no way, an oil company is going to look at, some young Midwestern person, especially a woman. So anyway, I applied. At 24 years old, I got an opportunity to build 272 fitness centers on offshore oil rigs off the coast of New Orleans. So I worked from Destin Dome, Florida to Galveston, Texas, flew around on seaplanes, helicopters, and built fitness centers. So the benefit was, Rod, that I knew how to do a lot of the statistical analysis of the back injury cost. What did a smoker cost? What did someone overweight, especially offshore with swing rope tests and needing to have strength? So I was really working to reduce healthcare costs. Actually, it was late 80s, early 90s. That was a good, interesting 3-year run living in New Orleans, flying on helicopters every day.
So where along the journey did you move from a fitness guru, business guru, to more of a wealth building expert?
In 1996, so I knew I was looking. And I think the lesson for everyone listening on the podcast and really understanding the trajectory is you have these what I call yes moments all the time in your life. And what happens when an opportunity comes is typically within nanoseconds, Rod, people chalk themselves out of it, every reason why they can't do it. Versus, I think early on, I just took on the motto of living of, I may not be able to do it, but I'm going to put a team together. So I don't know how to do it. I know who cannot get to do it. So even with the fitness center, I didn't know how to do the fitness centers. I found a bunch of engineers. I assembled a team. So I think that is a huge missing piece for most people that are struggling entrepreneurs and putting even investment teams together or whatever kind of project you're putting together is stop thinking you're going to do it all. You won't. You don't have enough skill sets. So early on, I built a team around that and then was looking for something else. I really wanted to go back to the finance space. Obviously, I'd attended a ton of seminars. I met so many people early on, Bob Proctor, who became a great mentor, Dennis Waitley. And so all those guys were really helping too. That's the other kind of lesson is if you want somebody to help you, go ask. And yeah, you might have to pay for a great mentor, but I had great mentors early on. So Bob Proctor actually was one who introduced me. He said, come to this event, and this new dude on the scene, Robert Kiyosaki, is going to be there. I'd never heard of him. 1996. Sharon Lechter was there, and we cut a deal. I became the master distributor of the cash flow game. And again, did I know how to facilitate and run game nights and put a game in the world? No. I left a huge, huge opportunity at Chevron, a job. To my family, what the heck are you doing? You're leaving Chevron. You have this big 401k. What are you doing? You don't even know these people. What if they fail? I said, well, then the next opportunity will happen. So 1996 was my transition. It was my transition, and I followed Kiyosaki, Sharon Lechter. Sharon's still my dearest friend, and I call her my financial mom. 1999 was my millionaire year, and I was in real estate and gas and oil. And then I had my son that year. So that was all, 1999 was a big year, big year. And then I decided what I loved about the Kiyosaki work, Keith Cunningham work, Bob Proctor, just a lot of them, is there was this missing deep how-to. Even though I say go find the who can, how to also says, is there a team of wealth builders around the country that are outside of traditional finance? And I started assembling an alternative team and just people we could work together and talk together. And that's kind of how it all started.
It's an amazing, amazing story. And I got to tell you, since we're in timing of this, most of us are in quarantine right now. I got to tell you, Laura, what we're doing on family game night right now is we're playing cash flow, believe it or not.
Well, you need to get my game. I have a game too. So I actually have a game called the Millionaire Maker Game. And the way I put it in order to warm the kind of families up, because I'm such a fan of financial family literacy and legacy work. And it's really the deeper work I do with families. I mean, what we've created now is I have a 20-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I've done most of it as a single mom, is how do you put financial literacy in the house? And nothing better. I mean, it's almost like, the quarantine has forced people to come home and really relook at their values, their structure, their family lives. And we are putting more games in family homes because the way to play them is you play Monopoly to get warmed back up, and then you play cash flow because that's just about that one technique, cash flow. And then the Millionaire Maker, which I built off of 5 years of teaching people cash flow. So I knew that game intimately. I knew the learning techniques, I knew the principles, I knew the structure, is how do you then create a millionaire? So it is similar. You get a P&L and a balance sheet, but you all start in different places. Like if you started with debt and I had what I call lazy assets, I have real estate that's not performing, I've got whatever I have, the whole goal is to create a millionaire portfolio. So it's more advanced. Kids at 10 and older can play it and to do a combination. And my kids were playing Monopoly the other night. So you play in combination, the principles all tie together about what do you need to do. For those who are ready, it's like we've prepared for this moment. This is going to be some of the hottest transfers of wealth in the history of the world.
Let me stop you right there because I 100% agree. I 100% agree with you. 100%. This will be more than people are comparing it to 2008. And I'm telling people, No, this is completely different. So here's what I want to do. Yep. Laurel, hold on 1 second. We're going to take a short break and come right back. We're going to talk about why this now is the greatest opportunity for the transition of wealth, greatest opportunity for you, our listeners, to really make an impact on others and more so on your financial health and wealth. And we'll get back in a minute with the incomparable Loral Langemeier. Hold on. Hey, this is Rod Santomassimo, and we always tell our coaching clients that knowing isn't doing. That's right. Don't kid yourself. In fact, in my new book, Don't Kid Yourself, Knowing Isn't Doing, Build the Business and Life You Desire, I lay out many of our Massimo methods that we share with our clients to help them transform their lives. My new book, Knowing Isn't Doing, is going through a soft launch that will happen in March of 2020, and then a big national launch in September 2020. For more information, check out knowingisn'tdoing.com. Hey, this is Rod Santomassimo, and we're back with the Millionaire Maker. And wow, it's good. Now the time you need to pay attention. As Laurel shared with us before we took a break, that yes, this will be the greatest time for transition of wealth in our history. And I truly believe that. I do. This is not 2008. Laura, let's talk about that. Why now? Obviously, we got the pandemic, the coronavirus, the stock markets. People think it's absolutely crashed. Why now? What's going on? What should we be doing?
Oh, I got so much to tell you. So I put together a first aid kit. So I think there's two kind of people going on and two levels of energy going on. One are the survivors, right? And some of the people who just are out on vacation. And I don't say that sarcastically, but they haven't gotten the memo that when we do recover, I always say when the sun shines again, it's not going to look the same because a lot's going to transpire while in survival mode trying to figure things out. I mean, some people are giving more energy, Rod, to, figuring out the $1,000 or $2,000 that they're going to get from the government versus learn how to make that in your life. Learn how to make that every day. Learn how to make that every month. I put together a book in 2009 called Put More Cash in Your Pocket, which is a survival guide for families to put $500 to $1,000 more in their pocket because most people were trained that income comes from a job. You need to create a way where income can come from you and your family and its resources. And that's becoming an entrepreneur. Not a big one, but enough of one that when things like this happen, you can turn that on. And I call it the 21st century lemonade stand. Every family in the country could have that. In 2008-9, which is I wrote it in 9, if families would have produced $742 of more income, they would have not gone into foreclosure on average across the nation. And so what's different, right? So it's an income problem. Most people have an income problem. They don't know how to create new income. So I've committed 20-something years of my life to helping people become entrepreneurs and create new money. So pause that for a moment. Why isn't it like 2008-9? That was a complete manipulation of mortgage-backed properties. It was a mortgage. It was a real estate. It had a completely different, emergency was actually real estate. It was actually a mortgage problem and really, really stacked mortgages inside products that had no value. It was a complete mortgage, which creates that loss. So yeah, the market kind of rocked and rolled, but it wasn't a big market like problem like today. I have huge economic advisors that talk on I have a daily broadcast where I'm, live with the financial state of the world every day. And I've had them on, and this is a formal crash, bigger than we'd liken it to 1929. So it's nothing that we've ever seen. And it's also nothing we've ever seen because never has the world gone into a quarantine lockdown all at the same time. So you got to say, well, what's all really happening? 1933, Jekyll Island, wealthiest families in the world, went away to design this system. Prior to that, we were all entrepreneurs. So this was the greatest shakeup. And I'm no theorist about it. Just look at the history facts. So that all happened around wartime, and the industrial age was launched. People started going to school. They started getting occupations. There was no such thing. Prior to that, everybody was an entrepreneur. What's interesting about this time, it's much like that time, is you better become entrepreneur if you're going to walk through this, because we don't know when the sun's going to rise out of this yet. If whether you make money and you do some of the techniques that I share with it, I'm making money for 1 month, 2 months, 5 months, maybe it becomes a new lifestyle behavior for you and your family. Don't know the end date of this one. So in 1933, very few families launched all this. Industrial age, school system started, the financial system started, the Federal Reserve. You could just lay down the history lessons. It has never been reset. It has been, call it whatever, corrupt. It became what it is. Like, I don't give a lot of energy to it. I always say, so what now? What it is, now how do you work with it? Right? That's where I give energy to. What do you and your family from your home do in your community? So I have one heck of a huge community of people who are in this conversation and are working hard to either become a millionaire or are millionaires. And now what do you do? So what do you do now? The market. I teach off Wall Street. I've had a workshop for 2 years called Off Wall Street Assets. Well, this off Wall Street girl is going on Wall Street. Now I'm going very strategically. There are some softwares that you can actually buy. They're free. Give some of these resources, Rod, but it's a free app and you download, and it's an only algorithmic trader that takes you out of the market. Like everybody in that software, I've been telling people about the software for years. Very few people down. Looks like I'll get to it. Well, we on average only lost 3%. While the entire market went down 29, 30, and people lost a ton of money, we got out at 3 because the algorithmic software takes you out.
You share that software? Do you sell that software? What is that?
It's a free app. So yeah, I can send you my link. I'll get that and I'll put it in. And I've just loved it. It's a great tool. I've told tons and tons of people about it. All my kids have it. And I just want to speak to how to use it. Once, I get you the link, is you open up a Roth and you put your Roth in the link. And now you're going to go back into the market inside of a Roth, inside of a trader that can take you out. And let's go enjoy this market as it rises. And be very, 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 very strategic. And if you don't have to know how to trade, that's the other thing I like about it is Kelly, who actually designed the app, used to only do big banks. And, I've just met amazing people along my journey. And he is the algorithmic mathematician. He studied statistics and physics at 16-year-old at Harvard. He was the youngest ever PhD out of Harvard before 20. Most insane. He's one of those brains, you want his brain to be studied. And he oversaw $600 billion at Deutsche Bank. And he saw, the institutes make the money. The little guy can't make the money. Along our journey, we found each other and a bunch of people. And we did some private funding. So I'm an owner of it. But I don't do anything in it other than tell people about it. It's a free link. It's bit.ly/iFlipLoral. IFLIPLORAL. So it's bit.ly/iFlipLoral. So if you go there, you'll get a free app on your phone, download it. And even I always tell people, like even, those that are really in that survival and struggling, I said, just put $100 in. put $200 in. Because right now, I don't think people know where to put their money. You can keep it traditionally, or you can put it in that broker dealer. It can just sit in cash, or you tell Kelly, there's 12 or 15 algorithms, and you could just pick a safe one, an aggressive one. They have people on staff that'll tell you what to do.
With this pandemic, you're telling people, what should they be thinking? You said yourself, look, 3 types of people. I think there's those who are panicking, they're out. There's those that are taking a vacation, as in they don't know what to do. They're petrified. Let's go to panic, petrified, or productive. Those are the 3 people I'm seeing right now. What do you think?
Oh, I love those words. See, I kind of had them in 2. I put the vacationers and the survivalists kind of in the same bucket because they're behaving very similarly. I think the difference between those first 2 is the second category, like the vacationers, think that they're going to have a job back quickly. So they think they're on a 30-day hiatus in this quarantine, and then everything's life's going to resume as possible. I don't know. I think so. To your point, I'd be petrified of those people. And who I love to speak to are the productive. But I also don't leave those behind. So let me give a few tips to those. And I put together, and my team's putting it as we speak together, we're going to call it the financial first aid kit, which is to stop the bleeding and redirect some income. It's like the 2 things that people that have never done any of this before. They've been listening to Ramsey and Orman and Bach about get a job, maximize your 401k, and stay out of debt. Well, that information is obsolete. Like, it's not even possible. You couldn't even you could find a job. Costco, I hear, is hiring for people right now. And I hear Amazon might be hiring for drivers. But I also know Amazon's putting more drones in the air than most people. So regardless, you're getting a job is not really that much a possibility. This next weekend, which Rod, you'd be a fun guest for this too, we're going to do just a panel of the 401, like, how everybody's using the F series. We're going to do your 401k is, because the only way to stop the free fall of your 401k is to retire or quit, or just hope to God you just sit there and it all comes back, and hoping to God to get a job. So what's going to suck for those people who think their 401k is their only retirement vehicle is they must be hinged somehow to the job. Because if you're not, and those listening, you need to know for sure if you're done. Because if you're done, self-direct your 401k into like this app. Put you self-directed through the self-directed company, put it into the app, and let it do its thing to recover. Because, if you know how to buy at these low market rates, right, you can do doubles or triples. People just in the market on this next round back up, done right. Now, done wrong, you're going to screw everything up anyway, but done right, you could become a market millionaire. You can become a marijuana and CBD millionaire. Those industries are thriving, 150% up on all prices across the country. And I live in Nevada, and I do have licenses. I see these dispensary stores. It takes 4 to 8 hours to stand in line. We have product shortages because so much is being bought. Mortgages and real estate are going to be massive, massive opportunities. They are. We've seen more liquid cash going in the market right now. Like yesterday, I talked to people just in 2 hours of phone calls, could easily identify $1 million in cash. People are now saying, what do I do? Because I want to be, if I'm not a millionaire, I want to, like, the greatest transfer of wealth is going to happen right now. While panicked and petrified, while they're standing over there not knowing what to do, there's a group that is extremely productive, moving right through and not staying home and not saying, well, they might be staying home, but there's a lot you can do quarantined. And it's using your brain, it's using your resources, it's using your team, and having really, really smart people around you. So, to me, it's exciting times. Like, more is going on now than, I shouldn't say ever before, but it's accelerated. For those, just to give a few more tips. Number 1, stop the bleeding. Know exactly where you are. And I know people say that casually, but actually my first aid kit, give them, list every expense, every detail per company. And if you have real estate where you had, a high vacancy, you better negotiate with those tenants and figure out who's paying and who's not paying, because that's going to affect your cash flow. Do not, even if you have some, level of wealth, even in the 100,000 status, figure that out very quickly. I think your tenant problem is going to be a bigger problem than people have seen yet. I think April and May we'll see the fallout of who's paying, who's not. And those folks who are being blind landlords are going to get hit hard. So really know what your numbers are. And then believe me, this whole defer to payments, go do it. I've had my whole team. You can call for mortgage delays. You can call for payment delays, credit card delays. It's amazing how forgiving, and I'm not talking just delays in payment. You can also ask for reduced interest. So do those activities. I know they sound odd, but the point of all that isn't just to reduce down to the little bit you have left. It's to preserve your cash so you can get into the market. So you can go buy some real estate. So you can do hard money loans. Like move your money into an investable vehicle that you don't need to live on, but really know that number. So you need and defer, make really smart decisions. And the last thing I see in that panic and, that spot is, especially for really small business owners, is preserve your human capital. It's more valuable than you think. And I'm just seeing all these businesses, Rod, just dump off their human capital really quickly. I'm like, you're going to need them once you kind of sort out what you're doing. You're going to need people helping you. So don't go solopreneur too quick, because you're going to suffer greatly when you hit yourself in that place. So that's kind of to stop the bleeding, get your number, and then redirect immediately. Get all your energy focused on what can I do to create more money. And for all your listeners, I'll give them my book, Put More Cash in Your Pocket. It's a super easy guide an 8-year-old could read how to start a little company, a 21st century lemonade stand. And for those of you that are like more mature business owners, it's a great reread to remind you of all the simple stuff that you overlook. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about some of those little techniques. So I'll just give that to your listeners. I'll put that out on a link. And can I give them a link to go get it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So go to my Ask Loral. So I just we're running most of my stuff right now through Ask Loral, AskLoral. So Ask Loral, I have a Facebook group where everybody's talking. I have Put More Cash in Your Pocket, which is I'm just giving that away as a free read, because it'll even go down to what do you do with the license and tax in your county. And it's it's like a startup basic book. So super, super simple. That flip links out there, so you can do that. So I'm just giving a lot of people those resources to stabilize. But now let's get to the productive side. Rod, it is so exciting right now.
It is.
What do you see that's exciting?
Well, I got to tell you, I woke up on Saturday morning. Well, I started my company in 2008 on a 6-foot table with this folding table in my vacant living room. And so now we have thousands of clients. We have 30 coaches coaching my stuff. And I learned through the process of what I need to do to build a company. So I shifted all the resources currently that we're doing into a new division of the company, because I see where we can grow immediately. So for me, it's like, yeah, this is 2008 all over again, just in terms of being a catalyst to kick me in the ass and do something different. That's why I love it.
I totally agree. Like literally, we went from being an event company. I mean, I'm known for that. In fact, that is my place on earth, is on a stage. I mean, I've been highly trained to do it. I love it there. It's a natural home. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen me on stage, but it is like easy. That is my home. Well, the internet's now my new home, right? So new stage, so I'm taking all my experts, bringing all that online. And in the meantime, what's interesting is the time freedom of not being in airports. I own 4 marijuana licenses here in Nevada. And yesterday, I just have to have a little Yahoo. We have a green light to have our first, production going this year. Some people hear that and say, well, aren't you behind? No, you know what the benefit of staying a little behind was? And not feeling, and I think this is a huge lesson for people who feel like that their time has passed. Because I'm coaching a lot of people through the country saying, well, we've had marijuana in Oregon and Oklahoma for a long time. I said, yeah, but look at the fall down. Look at the amount of mistakes and the broken businesses. The opportunity is still there, because now, 2 years later, there are so many people here in Nevada that want to go to a supreme group. They want to go to a better group. They don't want the bumps and bruises. They've had the bruises. We can also hire the experience of the bumps and bruises. And a lot of people are suffering and didn't have the cash flow position properly. There are so many opportunities across the country in that category. I think CBD and marijuana consumption is going to go up. I do not want it federally legal yet. It's way too soon. Our hope is that by 2024, 25, let the private owners play for a while. Let us play, make money, do it before there's a big sellout. Canada couldn't have screwed it up more. They went public way too fast. They pumped and dumped their stock. Billions of people, billions and billions got lost in the way Canada did it. And they have horrible, horrible product across the country. And I know that. I'm married to a Canadian. Canada couldn't have done it worse. My point is that I don't care what state you're listening or what country you're listening, that is a massive category. The markets, marijuana, CBD, mortgages, interesting, all these M's, I just put that together. The market's hot. It's not done. It's not done rumbling according to right now, just get everything ready is kind of what we're saying. Go get ready, look for partners, look for positions, and then talk. It's probably my biggest is be in communication, be in conversations, be in this conversation. Maybe Rod and I, we start a, conversations, group. So I love having people bring things to us. Like that's how my whole community works, is bring us something to talk about, bring us a deal, bring us an opportunity, bring us a business model, and we will, for lack of a better term, pick it apart. What are the pros? What are the cons? What do you need to do? Where's it missing? Where are you short? And then keep working on it. But to not have that, I mean, that's always been our high value is communication and really high education to help people get through days like today, times like today. Like and even if you have hardly anything, you can make it.
Let me ask you a question. There are many people that will be listening that are commission-based salespeople, right? So whether they're commercial real estate brokers, mortgage bankers, or whatever they're doing, and they're going to say, well, that sounds good, but you know what? This is what I know, and this is because I know what they're going to say. This is what I know, and there's no velocity right now. There's no transactions. Therefore, what am I going to do? Do I give up my career because I knew it for the last 20 years? Or what do you tell these people?
So I love doing makeovers. So call that, conversation a makeover. And anybody who wants a money makeover can go to Ask Loral. So Ask Loral is a forum where you put in your name, number, and say, hey, I want a business makeover. So I would do makeovers. So for those kinds of people, in fact, yesterday was most of my day on with real estate brokers and agents, and I'm not going to say shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I'll tell you, I'm having a little bit of, inside going, told you so, is you need to shift towards investment projects. You need to shift towards projects that are putting people together. There is velocity in that. There are areas, nothing across any of my real estate folks have changed. So some of the brokers and the agents that are more traditional are now, like one of them called me yesterday and said, I was out, with some of my old clients and they have a lot of cash. What do? I said, become a hard money lender. Well, I don't know how to do that. So now I'm working with them on how to do that. A lot of them. So there are people who have cash, you have projects, you need to be more of a matchmaker. I think what's going to happen for a lot of traditional industries, which I love, is there are going to be a lot of industry disruptions about how I did it. And I think how you did it is going to change, right? How are people doing personal service-based businesses, hair salons, chiropractors, manicures, pedicures, dog walkers, dog groomers? Like if you think about all those service-based naturopathic doctors, they're going to have to change their modalities. And maybe they'll go back when the sun rises again to the way they did it. But maybe this is that opportunity for them to bring in, like you said, different divisions, different revenue streams from different models inside their company. So in general, shift your business. And there's so many ways to do it and collaborate. I think collaborating in joint venture. In fact, today my broadcast at 12 noon Pacific on my Ask Loral is about that. How do you up level and shift on a dime your business model? And what people don't realize too, they're sitting on the resources that they need. It's not like a lot more has to come to them. They've never organized in a format for them to structure a deal or reorganize their pricing or, even put a different offer together properly. People aren't thinking. And part of it is, you have to remember, since 1933, we have been conditioned so intensely. It's why so few people became millionaires. I mean, this has been my controversial battle, I'd say, the whole time is, what I teach, from the millionaire makers, act, think, and make money the way the wealthy do. It's not what you're taught in normal schools. My son's going to school, originally last year in Florida, now he's in Georgia. He's taking high finance classes in accounting. I mean, he's like, Mom, they don't teach you anything that you teach. It's because I'm teaching how to be an entrepreneur, how to be a wealth builder. What schools teach you is how to be an employee. So then you have this whole batch of people out there panicking and petrified that are trying to take their only school they know, which is no longer works. And they're going to have to step across the line and say, damn, it's time I got to become an entrepreneur. And I'm going to have to learn some new techniques. I'm going to have to learn some new strategies. And I'll tell you, I just want to go back to the one skill. So I don't look at people through an occupation. I look at them through skills. So if you're a broker or any commissionable salesperson, you have one of the highest, that in tech, or some of the highest marketable skills today. Like I can't get enough commissionable salespeople right now. I have so many projects I could put them on for commissionable. Are you going to sell real estate? Maybe. You might sell dirt. You might sell marijuana. You might sell high-end money makeovers. You might sell all sorts of stuff. But if you have a skill set to sell, you're very highly positioned. You just have to go look for something, a different mix to sell, I'd say, or different thing to sell.
Love it. Loral, best way to get in touch with you, I'm assuming, is askloral.com. Is that correct?
Correct. Askloral.com, ASKLORAL, spell my name correctly. And we're going daily. So every day, Ask Loral. I have a Facebook group that I put together called Millionaires in Training. And we are now, we literally just moved us on a dime. I had all these stages. Literally, I was booked for the next 8 weeks to be on the road on shows. All of it canceled. And here my team, we all looked at each other and said, well, we're all going to become a broadcast cable company immediately. So starting last Wednesday, we did. Every day we go live at noon, and a lot of it's, me teaching. And so it's not just reporting the news, it's teaching. It's like there's a lot of very specific, do this, do this, do this in education, because some people have never been taught this, and it's totally counter. Like, can you imagine, Rod, people that have been living debt-free, don't use credit cards? You don't have a choice today. I mean, you could stay stubborn and not, and then, completely fall down. Learn how to use them strategically. Use them smartly. Use the money. If it's a 0% card, there's tons of them out there. That money could keep you alive till the sun shines again. So very, specific, and I'd call simple stuff, but a lot of people, for those listening, I'd say stop the bleeding, pivot your income so you can breathe. And then from that space, you're going to get creative and talk about the stuff Rod and I are talking about, which is the greatest transfer of wealth is now. And, Rod, I got to say this, include your family this time. There's so many families where just the man or just the woman, or they keep it away from the kids, they don't need to talk about money. Money is you buy stuff for your kids every day. Have the money conversation so deeply in your home. And, I'll put together a nice little package on Ask Loral for a discount. And the game's normally $149. I'll do a ripping deal for people, because it really should get in your home. And it's a perfect time. Not be embarrassed about the fact you didn't have money in your home conversation. Now say, you know what, we're going to put it in. Start with Monopoly. You probably all have that at home. If you have cash flow, play that again. Order mine and just keep mixing the games up. But talk about money. This is a very pivotal time for your family's life to change with money. I'm serious about that. It is so critical. You take this so seriously.
Well, Loral, I know your time is so valuable. I can't thank you enough. The advice, insight, guidance you provided today, and the channels you're going to provide going forward. So our audience, definitely jump on those channels, askloral.com and our other Facebook groups. We'll get you the links in our show notes. Well, thank you so much. And I would say good luck, but hell, you don't need luck. You know what the hell you're doing.
Blessings. How about that? Blessings for all.
Blessings for all. Okay. Well, everyone else, you know how I sign off all the time, and Loral just said it right here. Don't kid, K-I-D yourself, because now that Loral's giving you all this knowledge, it doesn't mean anything unless you apply it, and that means that knowing isn't doing. So go out and do. Until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with The Massimo Show. I want to thank you for listening to this version of The Massimo Show. And please, please go out and share this with your friends, your colleagues. Heck, share it with your dog. Just share it. And more importantly, just give me some feedback, good, better, and different. We all grow from understanding what our audience wants to hear. So until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with The Massimo Show. Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, president and founder of the Massimo Group. And did you know that for over the past 11 plus years, we've worked with thousands of independent contractors, solopreneurs, and small business owners just like you in repositioning their and/or their team's efforts so they can build the personal, professional practice they've always dreamed of. We provide coaching programs for all levels of experience, earnings, and yes, success. So if you're finally ready to get off that transaction treadmill and chasing deals that are growing nowhere and start building the personal, professional business and life consisting of greater wealth and more time, well, check us out at massimo.coach. That's MASSIMO.